What's the DJ?
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I'm your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors. Your closing bell for Wednesday, January 4th, 2023. I did it again. All three shows today, I put 2022, so I'm up to 7 now. 7 and 3 on Twitter. That makes 10. Jeez. I'll get there sooner or later. Great day today. Early this morning, myself and B2B Rob from Fort Lauderdale breaking down the card, talking some sports. 1:15, Andrew McGinnis from Wager Talk and McGinnis Picks comes on talking World Juniors. Huge game at 6:30, USA and Canada, where I had a feeling, and I got the text, Andrew will be live at the game, and can't wait to see some pictures there. And now, the closing bell. And you know what? I'm reminiscing, and I hope Riley here follows me up because I'm just playing the tape back in my head yesterday. I think our eyes were on bleeping fire in college hoops yesterday. I talked about BC. I gave everyone Fresno State. 14-0 versus a 5-8. Both BC and Fresno State went out right. The one that I know I was wrong, and we gave it out for an ECSI VIP. I went to Kentucky -6 first half, up 6, and of course they give up a layup at the with 1 second left for the loss. They're our only loss. 2 wins. Rangers plus 109 beat the Hurricanes with 111 in a row there. And then, of course, Fresno State plus 4.5 and plus 160 on the money line as they beat New Mexico outright. But I'm playing this tape back, and I Riley can think and help me because I swear we were spot on a lot of games. So without further ado, let's bring him in, the one and only Mr. Riley Magnuson. Afternoon, Riley.
Afternoon, my friend. Yes, I believe you are correct. I left plenty of plays on the desk yesterday, so I can't sit here saying I'm sitting on a pile of money necessarily. But you and I were pretty spot on, my friend. One that you didn't mention, I don't think they got the win, but Louisville was a spot that you and I mentioned as the Cardinals maybe a chance. They lost by 1. Yeah, spot on with Boston College. Tennessee by 1 million. That was a no-doubter right there. I think the one that maybe, and we hesitated on it and said if Marquette was informed, then they'll probably win that game, which is absolutely happened. And it was a good game. It was a good game for a while there. I'm trying to think. I think it was you had the MAC game you had was Buffalo, right? They got the job done. That was
desperation.
One. Yep, that was a spot on there. And then I'm trying to think what else here. Kansas ended up taking care of business. That was -1.5. They win by 3 there, and then Wisconsin and Minnesota under. Didn't Minnesota ended up covering, but the under gets there by a 0.5 point. That one was a closer game than we expected, though.
I called the over in the Virginia Pitt game.
Yes, yep.
That got over there. I said Pitt was sneaky there, and then again the late game, Fresno State taking care of. Undefeated New Mexico. I'm telling you what, this New Mexico team is pretty damn good. I was, me being a former basketball D3 women's. Okay, so I'm not saying I was D1 or what. I coached D3 women for 3 years. But the coach in me, right before the half, Fresno State's got the ball up 36-30, chance to run out the clock. So at worst, you're up 6. You could hit a 2 to go up 8. You could hit a 3 to go up 9. Instead, they turned the ball over, and it's 36-32 at half. Now I'm steaming. I'm lying down, like trying to decompress. Now I'm livid. And, of course, the first 5 minutes of any game, especially the kids, really tells you what's going to happen in the second half. And New Mexico comes out guns a-blazing, and they take a quick 5-point lead. I'm like, thanks for playing, but we battled back and not just to cover, but won the game outright. But so
Yep.
the guys and gals that just listen, set them and forget them, really don't know the pain, suffering that goes on
Yeah.
when you
Oh,
follow
jeez.
these games.
Oh, especially college basketball. I mean, sometimes you got to take a break from it, but sometimes you need, as compared to, going through the entire football season and you got these long games. Sometimes you need these quick, gigantic sweats where you've got, you need a team +7 or something like that, and it's an 8-point game, and you need them. You're desperate for a 3 and missing some free throws. So I love a good college basketball sweat, and I think I don't remember if it was off the air or on the air, but we've got a hell of a slate tonight, my friend. So I am locked and loaded for tonight's games.
Yes. Update again. I've been really stuck in the studio most of the day. I've been checking my phone, whatever. I guess there has been some reports that DeMar is breathing a little better. Is that correct?
I don't know the full details on it either, but it does sound positive and definitely better news and the right type of updates that you want to hear. So definitely, I don't know. I don't know the right nomenclature, but out of the woods, I don't think they're out of the woods, but it sounds like positive news to this point at least.
For the NFFC that I'm a part of, hats off to Greg, Tom, and Derek. I sent Derek a text. They're waiting. And if Cincinnati and Buffalo do play a week from now, 2 weeks from now, the final week and those stats will count. So anyone that was in a position to win a lot of money, they're given that opportunity. I've seen one big major company already pull the plug. I saw another one come out today and said they're doing the same. They're sitting and waiting. I've heard business as usual on Sunday, and they're the standalone game next week. I've heard Bills, Patriots moved, and I've heard a million different things. So, guys, I'm just going to say this. As Dave Sharapan says, nobody knows shit. I know nothing right now.
No, and I think the only thing that I saw that sounded more certain was that Ravens-Bengals is going to be moved to noon this Sunday or something like that. That was the one. I don't even know if that's absolutely right. But, no, going back to fantasy, my brother, for example, was texting me of what the heck they do. He was in his championship game. He's winning by a point, projected to lose by less than 1 point, and he has Jamar Chase, and the other guy has Josh Allen. And maybe my brother's got the kicker or something like that. So he has absolutely no idea. Him and his league have no idea what to do. But I think just waiting and seeing what some options are is the answer. And I'm fortunate to not have to be. I'm a fantasy football commissioner, and fortunately didn't have any issues with that at all. So I dodged that as far as my commissioner duties. So I am. Obviously, that's not the most important thing there by any means. But pleased that I didn't have to deal with any of that.
And this is a good segue. Know the book that you're using, meaning because a lot of contests, a lot of books, they have the guidelines and they're right there in print.
Yeah.
Okay. And I hate to use this saying, but house rules. It is what it is. It's right there in print. So I know a lot of times for advertising and free PR, the big wigs will come in and so got hurt on the first play, but we're giving you all your bets on him back. And it's just free PR and stuff. But again, fantasy leagues, fantasy or football contests or any contest that you get in, it's good to know the rules before you start. So you're not sitting here. I mean, this has never happened. And again, it's all about DeMar. That's all it's about. And, we're wishing nothing but the best for him and his family here. But there are a lot of repercussions, not just on that game and not just for the NFL, for other million and billion-dollar businesses.
No, and I saw I saw some of the people that have to enforce those rules explaining to people on Twitter, and I can understand it like you said, the free PR. I get that, but that has kind of gotten to a point where just across the board now, anybody that has some type of inconvenience. Obviously, this is an inconvenience, but even smaller situations over the past few weeks, people will clamor that they demand all their money back. But no, you're absolutely right. And in a lot of cases, I saw Jeff Benson, for example, you mentioned him a lot, mentioning that we have to follow our house rules or else we have our own violations if we don't follow these house rules. That's what they are here for. And so this is obviously a horrible situation, and Could it be? Would it be a perfect world if everyone worked out in the end for them? Yeah, it would be a perfect world, but obviously that's not the case. And house rules, like you said, are there for a reason.
Yeah, and I know in the Circa Survivor contest, obviously a tie you lose. You need to pick a winner
Yeah.
of the game. But if someone would have used the Bills or the Bengals in that Survivor contest, I don't even know if it's over. I knew there were 6 people left at one point. But if someone would have used one of those two, it was a loss because the game was not completed on that day or the next day. So they would have, it's right there in the rules, right there. There's
Yeah.
nothing they could do.
Right.
And for me in the NFFC, and then we'll go on to some college hoops here. I sent a text to Derek because I was in the 3-week race for first prize was $250,000. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I said I was hoping to make it to the final week because that was the final game. And I had Joe Burrow, I had T. Higgins, and I had Gabe Davis. And I was just hoping for that sweat that I was, 40, 45, even 50 points out. If Burrow has a day and it's that Gabe Davis day and T gets 1 or 2, then maybe I got a shot. But my words to them was thank you. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for being patient. And thank you for giving people the opportunity. Because as you were drafting, you look at the season. You look, who doesn't want Bengal guys? Who doesn't want Bill guys?
Yeah.
And the fact is, as you're going throughout the season and picking and choosing on the waiver wire, you might circle back around and grab a Bengal knowing or a Bill knowing that, hey, that's the last game of the year. If I got a key guy that's hurt, I can plug and play one of those guys in just in case.
Right. No, and yeah, that's obviously a lot of stuff that you need to know in advance, and just in case anything can happen, right? So, no, it's interesting situations. It seems like, I know there was concern about the rest of the league and what's going on this weekend, but it sounds like the majority of these games are going to go on as planned Saturday and Sunday. So, well, hopefully we get some more positive news and some more updates on what the heck is going to go on here these next couple of weeks.
The other game, I said we were back and forth, but I says they could be, if they're not peaking, they steamrolled them, and they're rolling back into form was Creighton last night. They stuck it to Seton Hall. As you said, there's a real nice college slate, and I'll just start it. I'm just going to take my guys. I'll set the table here for you. UConn, number 3, travels to Providence, who's number 43 in Ken Palm. Ken Palm's got UConn winning 74-68. I had a 6 with a 142.5. It's down to 5.5 at Circa with a 143.5. All right, guys, I'll look you guys straight in the face right now. I am scared shitless of this game. I was scared shitless on New Year's Eve. Everyone knew. I'm scared even more here, not just because it's a tough spot. It's also a tough spot because they come back home and they face Creighton. All right. Providence had their number last year. And this Providence team, very quietly, guys, very quietly, 12-3 now. They started 3-0, beating Rider, Northeastern, and Stonehill. They lost by 10 to Miami, who's having a hell of a year, who's got 1 loss. They lost to St. Louis, who I think is pretty good. They lost by 3 there. They beat Merrimack and Columbia. Then they lose to a TCU team, who we both know is pretty good, by 13. Now, Rhode Island, Manhattan, Albany, all thanks for playing there. They beat the Hall by 4. They beat Marquette in double overtime. They beat the Butler by 20, and they beat DePaul by 15. They're rolling, guys.
Yeah.
They are rolling. And I'd like to say that I think, you want my honest 2 cents? I think the number's too high. I really think this should be UConn 2.5 or 3. I'm staying far, far, far away. People can say, hey, it's a great spot for UConn and a bounce back. Yeah, it is. I understand that. I've been to this game before in Providence. The gym, you're on top of the like this. The place is rocking. I hope somehow, some way UConn finds a way to win. I'm scared shitless.
For your sake, I hope they win but don't cover, because I've got a little piece on Providence today, my friend. I'm interested. I was very interested in it Well, yeah, I could see UConn winning. I could see this being a close game. Like you said, I think the number is just a couple points too high here at Providence here. And, Butler and DePaul are starting to fade a bit, but both of those are on the road, and they beat the pants off them by 15 and 20 as they were underdogs at Butler somehow and won by 20, and then won at DePaul of 5.5-point favorites by 15. And then the win at Seton Hall is impressive to me. And then, taking care of business against Marquette, who's playing really well right now. Like you said, they're rolling. So I'm interested, and I got a piece of Providence tonight at home.
And I looked at the money line, and again, opened at 210. Jeffrey Benson and Mr. Metcalf at Circa now have it at 240. Providence at plus 205. Again, this number is set at 6. And there's only one way it can go is down. And I talked about Kansas and Texas Tech last night. That number opened at 3.5. The only way that number could go is down. So they're doing what they want. Vegas is making a statement here. They're like, listen, anyone that wants to bet Providence, we got plenty of lines over here. Don't have to run. You can stay there. Take your time. They're putting a stake in the ground saying UConn not only wins, but they're going to win comfortably here.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah, definitely here. So let's see what else. What else we got going on in college basketball here tonight? Let's stick in the Big East. I don't have any stake in this one. Was curious what you were thinking here. Villanova at Georgetown. Nova was playing better for a while there, and then I'm not saying they weren't playing well, but they ran into at UConn, as obviously we just talked about. UConn as 12.5-point dogs, lose by 8. And then host Marquette as 3-point favorites and lose by 2 to a good Marquette team. 9.5, I think it still is, right? 9.5 favorites at Georgetown here. Georgetown 5-10. I don't know. Do we think Georgetown makes a stand here, or do we believe in Nova after dropping a couple and maybe making a statement here against this bad Georgetown team?
Ken Palm, Villanova 53rd, Georgetown 202. He's got Villanova 75-68. A Georgetown team that is 5-10, losers of 5 in a row. Syracuse, Xavier, UConn, DePaul, and Butler. Villanova comes in right now 7-7. They had won 5 in a row. They lose to UConn by 8. It was a close game the whole time. They lose by 2 to Marquette as a 3.5, 4-point favorite on Saturday. It's a get-well game for Nova. Do I trust them at 9.5? I don't know if I do. I think they win slight lean to a Georgetown cover, but I think it's too many points. But this is the get-well. The problem is they better win because they got Xavier on Saturday at home. So
right. Yeah, and if they can get this game and that game, then they could be in for a nice little roll because then they've got Butler, Georgetown, or DePaul, Butler, and Georgetown. So if they can get these next 2, they could be in for a nice roll again and get themselves right back into contention here. So I'm with you. I'm staying far away from it. My gut kind of tells me a weird Georgetown keeps this one within that covering range there because they have been bad, but. Maybe, I don't know, is that a box score game? They lose to UConn by 11 as 21.5-point dogs. Was that, I don't remember watching that game. Was that kind of just a 10-point game the whole time? Were they down further and made a comeback or closer than that? Just before Christmas.
UConn, I think that was a grab-ass game the whole time. No, Georgetown actually played well in that game.
Yeah.
Actually, Georgetown did have a lead for a while in the first half, and then the second half, UConn kind of flexed its muscles, but was never, ever once even close to covering.
Okay. No, I was just curious because I guess my point was, after a couple of these ugly losses, they kind of bounced back as far as the expectation and maybe, mess around with covering, not winning. So I'll go on record. My gut's telling me they cover but don't win here. But it wouldn't surprise me if they lose by 30, 40 points also here. So a lot of other good games here. Auburn and Georgia, let's see, in the SEC. Both these teams, good records, 11-2 Auburn, 22nd AP, I think 19th per KenPom or somewhere around there. I lost my note on that one. Georgia not ranked 10-3. They are 98th per KenPom. They have not really beaten anybody. Losses to Wake Forest, UAB, and Georgia Tech, and their best wins are Notre Dame and Chattanooga. So nothing too much to write home about there for Georgia. Auburn's only losses are USC and Memphis, so nothing bad there. The 7, I saw a 6.5 20 minutes ago on one book for a minute, but I think it went back up to 7.5. 7.5. Are we? And I think there was a decent amount of public buy-in on Georgia with the 10-3 record and a lot of points here at home. Feeling like this is a good spot to back Auburn against a team that we might expect to regress, or would you like this to be a little bit higher if you were trusting Auburn here?
Both teams, in my eyes, with the eye test, have not met expectations. As you said, the 2 losses for Auburn, one on a neutral court to a very good Memphis team and one at USC. They've actually have played 2 road games. They're 1-1. They went out west and lost to USC. They come back and they destroyed Washington. They beat an okay Florida team by 3 at home. This Georgia team lost to Wake Forest, lost to UAB, lost to Tech. They beat Notre Dame by 15, Chattanooga Rider. I mean, they don't have any marquee wins. They really don't.
No.
I think Vegas is taking a statement here. I think Auburn rolls here. How's that? I'll go with Auburn rolling.
I've got it on the desk. This was one of the ones I was really interested in today, at least one of these favorites here. Just a spot where, a team 10-3, a lot of people looking at that record, only a game apart here in an SEC game and expecting it to be, a 3.5 points, type of spread as opposed to this one. So that was really where my head's at. So I am leaning definitely towards Auburn's side of things there. Going to my Big Ten, this one is an interesting one. This is a tough one, potentially tough one. I've actually got to lean in this one. Penn State and Michigan, 44 and 46 per KenPom here. Michigan obviously gets the monster bounce back win against Maryland on, I think it was Sunday. Penn State, though, 5 wins in a row. Started with Illinois. This is over the last, good chunk of the last month or so. Starts with Illinois, then 3 cupcakes, and then just beat Iowa over the past weekend. A lot of public buy-in here on Michigan here as well. I'm kind of interested in Penn State, if not winning this game, at least keeping this one close and taking the dog in this one. I'm not in love with it because obviously Michigan is a team that always is a thorn in my personal side here. So I'm leaning towards Penn State, but would not be, if you told me I'm wrong, I would not be upset. And if Michigan wins by 20, I would not be surprised.
I have a 2.5 with a 141.5. And as you said, the public's buying in on Michigan. At Circa right now, we got a 4 with a 141. I think we've gone through this, and I'm just going to double check on it. Penn State, again, 44 on KenPom. Michigan, 46. 3 losses, Penn State, Virginia Tech, Clemson, and Michigan State. After the 2 losses in a row to Clemson, Michigan State, they've rattled off 5 in a row. Illinois, Canisius, Quinnipiac, Delaware State, and then they beat Iowa by 4. Here's what I'm afraid of, guys, and you can tell me where this is going to be at. Nice bounce back, Maryland. 8-5, Michigan. Lost to Arizona State, who we know is Jekyll and Hyde, but they lost by 25. They lost to Virginia by 2, who's a real good team. They lost to Kentucky by 4, who's a real good team. They lost to Carolina, who's supposed to be a good team, by 4. But again, they lost to Central Michigan, which, again, they were peaking to Maryland. So you know they got the peaks. They got the peaks, right?
Yeah.
Saturday at Michigan State. And so I know they can't be peaking. I know they're not supposed to be peaking. I can see them peaking. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I totally agree with you. They do have the peaks, and that also interests me. You could also play the other card and say Penn State, I think, hosts Purdue this weekend. I just don't see Penn State being the same type of peaking team. I see they typically have an identity of, even just going to Michigan is a big game for them in and of itself. So I don't see the same type of peaking nature for them, but you could make the same argument. But I feel very confident saying that Michigan, or I could expect a Michigan team to be peaking against their biggest rival going to Michigan State this Sunday or Saturday.
And here's the thing with Purdue. They coming off a loss to Rutgers. They got at Ohio State, where KenPom's got them losing by 2. Where are they playing this Penn State game? It says semi away. Is it on a neutral, or is it a bigger place for Penn State?
Tonight?
No, when they do play. I got semi away. Do you know where they're playing that game at?
Are you talking about against Purdue?
Penn
Or what?
State and Purdue, yes.
Oh, I saw it looked like it was home game. I'll double check for sure here though. That would be weird if it wasn't a home game for him. Yeah, it's oh, it's at the no, it's in Philadelphia actually. It's in Philadelphia. So it is it's not actually at Penn State. It's in Philadelphia at the Pale Strip.
Okay, that's right. I just hit it and it sent me on a Google map at the Palestra. And
So you're right.
so, God, I was actually leaning Penn State. I was leaning Penn State tonight. It was a 2.5 public push to 4. I like where your eyes are. I'll take the dog here with the 4. And let me take a look at what happened on the money line right now for you. See where the movement is there. Penn State opened at 145. Now they're plus 155. Michigan went to 170. Now 180. So I'd buy the hook. I'll take Penn State plus 4.5. Sprinkle a little pizza and beer on them plus 155 on the money line.
All right. I saw there's a couple spots where I think you can get an honest. It looks like minus 114 at plus 4.5, and so that's what I ended up grabbing there. Plus 4.5, minus 114 there. So.
I like that.
No, that was one. And if I honestly, I like Penn State to win, but it wouldn't even shock me if this is just a really close game. And if someone wins by 1 or 2 points either which way here. So, yeah, I like Penn State in this one here a bit tonight here.
I agree.
Let's see. Going over to the Big 12, Iowa State and Oklahoma. This should be a good one. Iowa State 25 per the AP. They are 10-2. Oklahoma unranked per the AP. Iowa State is 40 per KenPom, however, and Oklahoma is higher ranked on KenPom, I believe, at 30th. Looks like the public just respects Iowa State a little bit more. You got a little bit of better record. You've got a couple bigger wins at your points where more eyes were on them. They had a win against UNC. I think UNC at the time was still the number 1 team. Obviously, they've regressed a bit. Beat Villanova before Villanova kind of fell off a little bit. So a lot of respect seems to be given by the public to Iowa State. Their only 2 losses are to your UConn team and the ugly one they suffered against Iowa a few weeks ago where they couldn't hit the broadside of the barn. But Oklahoma, like I said, just hasn't gotten enough respect. They haven't had too many games that are on big stages. And they've got in their rearview mirror this past weekend just lost a tough one at home to Texas. By 1, backdoor buzzer beater. They were losing by 4, got the backdoor buzzer beater to lose by 1 and cover there. I'm leaning towards Oklahoma at home to get that taste out of their mouth from this past weekend. Maybe I like Iowa State, but I could see a little regression from them, and maybe Oklahoma goes on a little bit of a run here in the Big 12. I lean towards Oklahoma, but if you wanted the other side, and disagree with me, it wouldn't upset me at all.
3 losses by Oklahoma. Opening game against Sam Houston. Then they rattle off 6 in a row. The last 3 of those all on neutral courts. Nebraska, who's had some big wins this year. We know about Seton Hall. Ole Miss is down, but they beat them by 4. They lose to Nova. They come back, beat UMKC. They lose on a neutral court by 10 to Arkansas. They come back and beat Central Arkansas and Florida on a neutral court. The loss to Texas is big, okay? The team hasn't lost 2 in a row. That's 1. They play Iowa State tonight. Then they travel to Texas Tech. Then they have travel to Kansas. Then they have West Virginia at home. Then they got Okie State on the road, and then they got Baylor at home, and then TCU, Alabama. So, again, that is death row schedule if I ever saw it. Okay, yeah. So now I flip over to Iowa State here, and they're 10-2. Their 2 losses are 1 to UConn by 18, and they lost to Iowa by 19. McNeese State, Western Michigan, nice win against Baylor by 15. I'm going to use the card that we used on Buffalo and the sense of urgency. This game is bigger for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Buy the hook, take them down to 3. I just take a peek here on the money line here. I know it's going to be too steep of a price, but let's see what we got from
the best one I see is minus 150, but I think then that might even be a little generous. The best one there.
I see, yeah. I'll use circa 155 and plus 135. I'm not one of these guys that likes to go to 155s. If you were playing a money line parlay somewhere, I wouldn't have
Yeah.
a problem with people using Oklahoma there minus the 155. But if you're gonna just grin and bear it, take the 3, and just hope that they win by 4 or more.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it is tough because this could be a close one. Iowa State plays good defense, but yeah, no, I've got a heavy lean towards Oklahoma on this one here. Let's see. Miami and Georgia Tech, couple in the ACC that I wanted to mention here. Miami and Georgia Tech. Miami's kind of becoming a lot of people's darlings these days. 12 per AP, number 12 team in the country. They are 13-1 at Georgia Tech. I don't know, 6.5 point spread. This one is this one smelling a little fishy to you, my friend, on the road, or is this a little mind games on the other side there?
The numbers set. I mean, you got a Georgia Tech team 7-6. Okay, loses to Utah and Marquette, and then they win one against Northern Alabama, and then they beat Iowa. I'm sorry, they lose to Iowa. Then they beat Northeastern and Georgia, lose to Carolina, beat Alabama State. They lose by 13 at home to Clemson, and then they lose by 19 or 18 at home to Virginia. So anyone that wants to jump on Miami, I get it. I do. With that said, believe it or not, I would take a swing with Tech here. I would take a swing. My numbers before it got released. Here's my eyes here, Georgia Tech. 6.5 and a 144.5. Still 6.5. So buy the hook up to 7 and pray. How's that?
I'm interested. I almost, this is a spot where I was expecting some regression this past weekend for Miami at Notre Dame as 2.5 point favorites. It didn't happen. And so at this one, I'm interested in Georgia Tech. I've seen Georgia Tech play a few times, and it's a tough pill to swallow. But yeah, no, I've been interested in Georgia Tech in this spot here, and maybe some Miami regression. They've got, not much of a peaking situation for them at all, though. That would help you a lot if they had UNC or Duke or something this weekend, but they don't. They got the weekend off. They host Boston College next week, so not much of a peaking situation there that you would like. But it was a little fishy to me. Felt a little low on this one, so it was definitely one to mention there. Other ACC game should be a good one. Duke at NC State. I've had a lot of interest in an an NC State spot like this in past years, and I'm a person that enjoys fading Duke on lines that feel a little inflated. NC State looking for a bounce back. They just lost by 14 at Clemson, maybe doing a little peeking of their own to this game right here, hosting Duke here. Any trust and any interest in NC State in this spot with Duke? They had their loss just before Christmas, bounced back against Florida State this weekend. Any interest in NC State, or does this feel pretty spot on and maybe Duke gets this one done?
Duke at 14 at KenPom, NC State at 59. So we know Duke, what they carry for weight when it comes to public. Their 3 losses, Kansas on a neutral court, Purdue on a neutral court, and they lost by 9 at Wake Forest. Now, this NC State team, 4 losses, Kansas, Pitt, Miami, and then just lost to Clemson. KenPom has it 72-70, Duke. Now, I look at the numbers here, and because I was looking at this one, 2.5 for the 143.5. The public is just riding Duke high.
Oh yeah.
The number, let me see where we have it. I got a 5 and a 144.5. So I'm going to clearly state NC State by the hook up to 5.5. I want to see what he's done with the money line here for everyone. Opened at 170, now 210. So everyone's in on Duke on the money line. Hey, listen, guys, pizza and beer at circa plus 180. You get it around 175. So Jeff Benson's got some heavy money on Duke today.
Yeah.
Heavy money on Duke.
Yeah. It's interesting.
I like NC State.
I had some interest. I was against Duke when they went to Wake Forest. That was a winner for me. And I've had luck with NC State in this spot in past years. And for me personally, this feels like the one where I need to step back and just root for NC State as an enjoyment spot. But I pizza and beer, money gun to my head. If I had to do something, I'd be interested in some NC State action.
Yeah, no. Again, the true number is 2.5 with a 143.5. The public's pushed it all the way up to 5. Let me see. I do have some info here. Let's see. Jack Clark is doubtful. So if I pull up NC State here and see Mr. Clark,
he's their leading rebounder.
Yeah, he's so down low, so they're going to be struggling down low. I don't know what to tell you. He's nationally ranked. As you said, they're going to be hurting on the boards. They got to hope Morzell, doesn't get into foul trouble. But he's their 6'8" guy, Ernest Ross and Ebenezer Duuna. Good luck. But again, I'm not going to follow the public here. I would fade Duke. And, wouldn't shock me they win by 10, 15, 20. I get that part of it. Yeah. But there's no way I'm following the Duke train tonight.
Nope, not me either. I've got an ugly one for you here. Interested to see. And if you don't think it's as fishy as I do, I didn't. This was just one stinky one that I thought I'd throw in the ring here. UNCW at Elon. 110 per KenPom. UNCW at Elon, 341st ranked team per KenPom. Only a 10-point spread. I saw it moving to 9.5 an hour or so ago. UNCW just beat 339 Hampton at home as 16-point favorites by 17. This one, is this a stinky one to you, or am I reading too much into this one?
Elon used to be able to make a 3-ball. It doesn't look like that is what they do this year. Let me pull them up tonight. KenPom's got it 72-62. This Elon team, 2-13. Their only 2 wins were to non-ranked teams. Wilmington, on the other hand, 12-3. Their losses to Carolina, Oklahoma, and UConn. Since then, they've won 10 in a row. I'm going to stay far away from that one.
That's fine. I'm not saying I'm not waving my ticket around with Elon. I promise you that. That one, at least, like I said, I've had some success with these 2-13 or whatever the hell they are teams up against the total opposite, and wondering why the heck it's a single-digit 10-point line or whatnot. And I've had some success with those ugly games. So I'll stick with my lean and on the record saying Elon finds a way to cover that one, but. You won't see me waving around an Elon ticket on up until game time there.
I was just looking at this one. I wanted to see 7-7 coming off the loss. I thought they had a big win this weekend. They beat Cincy. The Temple South Florida game looks to be spot on. I thought initially that there was a lean to South Florida. Temple 8-7. They've won their last 2 at East Carolina and Cincinnati. South Florida, on the other hand, coming off a Memphis loss, they had won 5 in a row. It's a coin flip, so no, I will stay away from that. Okay.
How about one of the other big games in the team? We've talked about them. They've been trendy pick. They've been a hot team. Mizzou and Arkansas, number 20th ranked per the AP. Missouri 12-1 at 11-2, 13 per AP. Arkansas, I think number 9 team per KenPom. Mizzou still not quite up there. I think they're in the 30s if I'm not mistaken. I didn't have that one written down. Arkansas just coming off of that loss to LSU about a week or so ago, I do believe. Missouri coming off of gigantic big wins, 22-point win over Illinois on neutral court, 14-point win at home against Kentucky as 3.5-point dogs. Now on the road, 7.5-point dogs to Arkansas. Is this the time to fade the Missouri Tigers?
They're in a bad spot, just like I thought LSU was, and hats off to them. They played grab ass, and Kentucky didn't get that. I was looking at the over here. This Missouri team likes to score a lot. My initial number was 157 with 7.5. There are 155s out there and a hook. So on those spots was buying the hook to over 155. Earlier this morning, I got a 154 and a half. It's not the biggest window that I'd like to have, but I thought this one could go over. But again, anyone that wants to jump on the Mizzou train, listen, I get it. That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
It's a lot of points for a reason. We're waiting for a hiccup here, and you're catching an Arkansas team off a loss to LSU. Yeah. So Ken Palm's got it 84.75. They got it at 159 as well. I like if you can get a 154 and a half, 155. I like the over here. I think Arkansas gets the win. I think they bounce back and cover, almost like I felt with Kentucky, which was egg on our face last night. But I think Arkansas is the side tonight.
Yeah, no, I've got some interest in it as well. I mean, yeah, you thought Mizzou had the hiccup. They lose by almost 30 to Kentucky, and then they come back and beat UCF. Not an easy win, not a fan, and blowout wins over Illinois and Kentucky to get them ranked. So, I like the must bus a lot. So I've got a lot of faith in, especially off of a loss in conference to LSU. I like Arkansas tonight to take care of that one there. TCU and Baylor is another good one tonight in the Big 12. We're bouncing all over the place here. Big 12, TCU and Baylor. Baylor -6. I don't have this one on my card tonight. Baylor 15-point loss at Iowa State this past weekend. TCU has been rolling for the most part here. They just beat Texas Tech by 6. I don't know. Did you feel like this was a statement number for Baylor? Is this one kind of spot on here?
I was surprised at the number. I don't think TCU's been getting the respect like they do in football right. as well. I'm trying to find my numbers here for you. Let me see if we can scroll down here. There it is. I had a 6 with a 142 and a half. It's stuck on 6 with a 144 and a half. We'll go over here to Ken Palm. Ken Palm's got it 74.69, so they got it landed on 5. Baylor at 22, TCU at 36. Again, Baylor coming off the loss. They haven't lost 2 in a row this year. Their losses to Virginia, Marquette, and then obviously Iowa State. They got K-State, West Virginia, so there's no peekaboo there. Who's TCU got? TCU has won 10 in a row. They got Iowa State at home. I mean, I hate to say it this way. Joel Embiid expected to be out, by the way. Just got that. Nation's 4th longest winning streak at 10. TCU yet 6 point. I think the number's spot on. Lean to Baylor. I think they win the game. Would I be shocked if TCU covered? No, I wouldn't. But I like Baylor in the bounce back spot here. I think the number's pretty spot on, though.
I do as well, but we've got some cross-sport breaking news, my friend, that I'm assuming you are not aware of pertaining to you and your Boston Red Sox.
Oh, please be good.
It is good news for you if you are a Rafael Devers fan. They had the arbitration settlement the other day, 11-year, $331 million contract, my friend. Deal is not official yet. Physical process hasn't started yet, but in the end, Rafael Devers, 11 years, 331 for your Boston Red Sox, my friend.
Wow.
Whew, you thought I was about to rip your heart out, didn't you?
That is so huge. I was wondering why they did the 17. So 11. So again, he wants the 30. So wow. That is so huge. That is all right. Now we got a building block. You got all right. That is huge for us. Wow. All right.
I figured you'd be happy with that one. You thought I was about to rip your heart out, though. I could see it. I could see it.
I was hoping you said Chris Sale was traded to the White Sox.
Yeah, no, thank you. We'll leave that one. We'll leave that one on our desk there. 26 years old, though. That's not like some of these other ones where they're by the end of their deal they're going to be in their 40s or anything. So I good for you. I like that one a lot. I know you guys were hurting for one of these guys to get one of these deals.
And I said all along last year they signed Story at $140 million, and I got into an argument with a good friend. They go when they let Bogaerts go, and I was like, soon as they signed Story, I knew that was their plan because they're trying to. I don't want to say emulate the Tampa Bay Rays, but they weren't going to sign both of them. So if you had a choice, you're going to sign Devers. So I'm okay now. I'm okay that at least they finally spent some money. They see where the market's going. And you can sit back and laugh at the Mets now against restructure and trying to figure this Correa thing out. I will take Devers at 26, a lefty who is going to play third, who going to get moved to first at some point, and then move to DH. So he's our next David Ortiz. That's who he is.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely perfect. And it's interesting. Yeah, we don't need to get into a whole conversation, but so many of these teams are finding ways to, I don't want to say be cheap and cut costs, but in some ways it is that. Instead of the gross, aside from the Mets, obviously, instead of the gross overspending, they're realizing it's, not going to amount to that much more revenue coming in. So they're in some ways being cheap, but obviously $330 million ain't a cheap contract to dish out, but you know what I mean here. So I only had one more college basketball game, my friend, if you want to jump back into that, and if you had any other ones as well. Only one that I had to mention, Illinois at Northwestern. Illinois, I am obviously the Big Ten guy over here, fan of Illinois. 3.5, though, was a little concerning to me. Northwestern starting to get some respect. And honestly, the total at 134, I would have expected to maybe be a little bit lower. So I was surprised, honestly. So if you disagree with that and you think this is a good spot to go to the under and a low spot, then I would not be disagreeing with you at all there. But a little concerned that this wasn't that Illinois wasn't getting more respect here, if I'm being totally honest. Am I fair to be concerned here for Illinois faithful here?
The numbers, the actual numbers, good eyes on the total, by the way. The actual true number is 2.5 with a 131.5. So the public has pushed it to 134, which is why, again, Illinois is 3.5. Highest scoring game, we lean to Illinois. Lowest scoring game, we lean to Northwestern. Ken Palm, it's got Northwestern 65-64. So let's figure out the Rubik's Cube here. Come on, Cletus. Northwestern 10-3. Lost to Auburn, lost to Pittsburgh, run off 5 in a row, Michigan State, Prairie View, DePaul, Illinois, Chicago, Brown, and get thumped by Ohio State. At home, by the way. In comes
they might have
Illinois.
Been peaking, and they might have been peaking there.
You just got it right out of me. They might have been peaking because we're not going to win both. We'll try to win one out of these two.
Yeah.
Illinois, 9-4. Losses to Virginia, Maryland, Penn State, and Missouri. 2 neutral courts, and then obviously the loss at Maryland. Now, here's what I'm going to ask you. You're the Illinois guy, okay? Would you be peeking ahead to Saturday to Wisconsin?
I don't know. If they hadn't lost the way they did to Mizzou, then I would say that absolutely. But I think Northwestern's getting enough respect that maybe they will say that they aren't peaking as hard as they normally might against a Northwestern team. So, to some degree, yes. I would say yes. I don't think they would be peaking as hard as what they would normally be peaking against Northwestern. They usually handle Northwestern well. So I do have some optimism. As if they hadn't lost that game to Mizzou, I would absolutely say they'll be peaking and they might lose this one. And I'm not saying they can't lose this one at all, but I don't know. I don't think they'll be peaking as hard as you would expect with the way this one's gone and dropping out of the rankings and whatnot.
Let me see here.
But I am nervous. I would have liked to see this one a little bit higher.
He's got 65-64. I tell you what, I'm going to stay away from the side. I'll buy the hook, go under 135 to everyone watching and listening.
Okay. Yeah. No, I could absolutely see that one for sure there. And yeah, Illinois got the cupcake. It'll be a decent atmosphere. I'm going to be at Northwestern's gym next week for Northwestern and Rutgers. I wish I could go for tonight's game against Illinois, but next week couldn't pass. I've never been to that gym, and I found some pretty cheap tickets for next week's game against Rutgers. So I will be there 1 week from today. But tonight, there's going to be a lot of Illinois fans there tonight, so it's going to be a good atmosphere there. That is all I had. Any other college games that you wanted to mention?
One caught my eye. I haven't dug into it. I thought the number was kind of, and it's one of your favorites. And let me find it again. Bradley and Murray State. Okay, now the Murray State was the darling. Bradley was sneaky last year. Now, again, this is the first time I've looked at these numbers on Ken Pom. All right, so let's go find it. It's got to be somewhere down on the bottom. State. Murray State. We got Lee 77, Murray State at 170. He's got Bradley 65-62. Now I'm going to pull up Murray State. 8-6. Losses to St. Louis, UMass, Chattanooga, Bellarmine, Middle Tennessee, Southern Illinois. They just come off a win to Evansville. And now let me pull up Bradley. Bradley losses to Utah State, Auburn, Liberty, Arkansas, and Belmont. They just won by, 34 to Illinois, Chicago. I was leaning Bradley here the whole time. There's no reason to get into it. No, I thought there would be a bigger lean there. So, no. I mean, Murray State, that's a good spot. You could say home dog, no respect, must win. But I thought Bradley was the side there, but there was not enough evidence there for me to lean Bradley.
No, I'll lean with it. I'll lean Bradley with you as well. But, I could see that one going either way. That one. Now, the Missouri Valley, there's a few games tonight that are a little both ways. One of the better ones, Drake in Southern Illinois. I haven't been paying attention to Southern lately. I know they're back kind of on a tear again here. Is this and Drake's kind of faltering a little bit. Would you lean Drake in that one? Almost plus 1.5. It looks 1.5 on the road there.
That's bouncing back and forth. I'm glad you brought this game up. We win against Drake with Missouri State on Sunday. We won the 3.5 and the money line. I have a Southern Illinois of 1 with a 125. It's basically stayed at 1. It's at 127. Southern Illinois 11-4, winners of 6 in a row. And their last two, Murray State and Belmont. The Drake come in at 11-4. Indiana State, Richmond, St. Louis, and Missouri State. They have lost 2 in a row this year once. Wow. I hate to say it. It's a Southern Illinois number to me.
Okay. I can't.
I just think the Drake in past performances, the Drake in the last couple of years being the covering machine, I would have respected a Drake minus 2.5 or minus 3 like you have with Illinois tonight.
Right.
With this opening up a Southern Illinois 1, what Vegas is trying to do is to get that Drake money, and they're not getting it right now. So I would lean Southern Illinois money line minus 115, 117.
All right.
Would I be shocked if Drake won? No, I wouldn't, because we win against them on Sunday, and I'm just taking our money on Sunday and just going to watch this one.
No, that's totally fair there for sure. So that is all I had for college basketball, my friend. Nothing else you wanted to mention there?
The only other one I'll bring up is locally St. Louis and UMass. St. Louis, who I like this year, a 3 and a 148 at Circa now is a 3.5 with a 151. Let me pull up St. Louis here for everyone. St. Louis and UMass. 82 for St. Louis, 149 for UMass. St. Louis comes in 9-5, losses to Maryland, Auburn, Iona, Boise State, and SIU, Edwardsville. Just coming off a win against St. Joe's. UMass, on the other hand, 4 losses. Townsend, UMass Lowell, North Texas, and they just lost at St. Bonnie. This will come back and bite me in the foot here. I'm going to say the Minutemen get it. Buy the hook, take them up to 4, sprinkle a little something on the money line. Let me take a look at the money line here. It is, the number is probably spot on here. Opened at 165 down to 160. Yeah, you can grab UMass at plus 140, guys, on the money line here. So I do. I like UMass here. I do.
All right. Sounds good to me.
On the bounce back.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Handful of NBA games. I don't know if you want to get right into those, and we can steam right through those.
Go ahead.
Let's see. Suns and Cavaliers. Let's see. Let me pull that up. This one is up to 6 right now. Still no Devin Booker for the Suns. I believe Evan Mobley, I just got an update. He was questionable. I think he is good to go. Yeah, he's going to be good to go tonight. He's fine. So really just Booker here. Suns have not been playing well. Like I said, 3 losses in a row. Cleveland just got 2 wins against my Bulls. 2 back-to-back wins, 2 hard-fought wins, both down to the wire. Last one went to overtime. I saw a lot of public buy into the Cavs today. Did that one feel spot on to you as far as respect to the Cavs, or do you think this is a good spot? Not enough people or not enough respect to the Suns, despite not having Booker, and maybe they're due for a bounce back here.
Phoenix, Cam Johnson doubtful, Booker doubtful, Garland doubtful for Cleveland, and Mobley is probable. What's everyone remember last? Mitchell putting up 70, 71?
Yeah, 71.
I think the number's spot on. I can look at it both ways. You're going to give me Phoenix. Phoenix here, 5.5. It's now 6 at Circa. Me in the NBA. I will stay far, far away. I wouldn't be shocked if Phoenix not only covered, but won outright. I wouldn't be shocked if the Cavs won by 20.
No. I lean towards the Suns, but it's not something I trust, really. I haven't put any money down on it. It's on the desk, but I do like the under. I think it's dipping a little bit. That's the team totals. 217.5, 216.5. Both these teams kind of live in the mid 220s typically. And like you said, Donovan Mitchell just put up 71. The last 2 games against the Bulls were in the mid 220s. Phoenix, 4 of their last 5 have gone over, and those totals were in the 220s. So I'm interested. I think my favorite total play in the entire NBA tonight might be this one and to the under here. The favorite under play out of this game here is under 216.5, 217.5, whatever you're seeing there.
No, I agree.
All right. So OKC and Orlando. OKC, this one is in Orlando. Yes, this one is in Orlando. OKC just took down Celtics by, I think they put up 150 points last night. So they are on the second night of a back-to-back. Orlando, a few days off. They've got 3 losses in a row, yet this one's only just about a pick 'em here. -1 is what I'm seeing right here, right now. Franz Wagner and Bol Bol are both out, it looks like, for the Magic here. And you and I have talked a lot about this OKC team, but we talk about them in, big underdog spots for the most part, a lot of spots at home. They are 5-12 straight up on the road. I think they're positive covering on the road. So, again, in spots where they're 9-point underdogs or whatever, they've been fine. 5-12 straight up on the road here. So, I don't have it. It's on the desk still. I've got to lean towards Orlando in this one. Wouldn't surprise me, though, if OKC came out firing out of the gates. So it's honestly one where I'm interested in waiting for halftime. And if OKC is, winning, tied, or whatever, and then maybe I take Orlando in the second half, expecting some second-half regression from Oklahoma City. But and then if Oklahoma City's up by 30 at halftime, then I'll cut my losses. But interested in Orlando one way or another tonight. Haven't put any money down on it. What do you think about this one?
Can you repeat to everyone that just joined us? I'll just give you the lead in. OKC was at home last night, catching 8.5. What can you just tell everyone what the final score was against the Celtics?
100 and again, the Boston Celtics, the big bad Boston Celtics, 150-117.
So anyone that runs to the window on a daily basis and plays the NBA, can you please just DM me? Just please. That's all I ask. Let's start a conversation. I'm not poo-pooing anyone that wants to handicap that wants to put themselves through the halftime call, the start of the fourth quarter call, anyone that wants to see their whole starting lineup out and then go out and win by 20. The OKC Thunder, who Riley is probably the president of the fan club. They are pesky. They do play hard. They put up $150 against the Boston Celtics. Now I know Larry Bird wasn't playing. Paul Pierce, the Chief, Kevin McHale. I get that part of it. They were 8.5-point dogs, and they put up 150. All right, and they wake up this morning heading to Orlando. Are they going to Disney? Are they going to SeaWorld? No, they're playing Orlando, and they're 1-point favorites. How many games have they won on the road, you said?
5 and 12 straight up on the road.
I mean, the only play here is Orlando. That's it. And Orlando or nothing for me. OKC just put up 150. They'll probably, and what do I got for a total today? 230, 115. First one to 116 wins. I'll go on record that say the Thunder don't put up 110 today.
Yeah,
I'll take those cases.
And well, not only that, and okay, I don't know. I haven't looked at the standings of profitability against the spread of all these teams. Oklahoma's up there though, 22-15. And that's typically the point where you start to see some inflated lines. So to see them in this spot against the 13-24 team after they just did what they did to the Celtics, I haven't taken it yet, but Orlando is one of the 2 or 3 or 4 games that I am the most interested in the NBA here for sure. So let's see. Moving on. This one, haven't got the news yet, but Milwaukee, my friend, Milwaukee at Toronto. Milwaukee at Toronto, 5.5 point dogs. I can't talk now. Milwaukee is 5.5 point dogs. Drew Holiday is out. I have to imagine either Giannis is out or I don't know who else is out, but 5.5 point dogs after Giannis just put up 55 points last night. Something's going on here. I'm going to go out on a limb and suggest that Giannis might be given the night off, second night of a back-to-back after he just put up 55 last night. Otherwise, Toronto might win by 30 here tonight. I don't really know what's going on. Can you any insight from you as far as what's going on with this Milwaukee line?
We've been waiting for Toronto.
Yeah.
Tonight's the night. Tonight they launch.
Do you think that indicates that Giannis is going to be out here the next hour or two? We're going to get the news that Giannis might be out of this one, though?
Well, you got Holiday and Middleton both as doubtful. So I will go Giannis plays and these two sit. How's that sound?
Okay. No, that's fine with me. Like I said, either we're about to learn that Giannis is out or this is the rising of Toronto that you and I have been calling for, and Toronto's going to win big here. So this one was one that was definitely tread lightly. Again, everyone saw Giannis put up 55 or whatever the rest of the stat line was. So definitely a concerning spot for me here as far as what's going on with Milwaukee. Would wait and see if any other news comes out there. So another one that was interesting to me, Detroit and Golden State. I think this one is where I was looking. This was the most heaviest public buy-in on the entire market tonight, at least on the book that I saw. Maybe there's some other ones that you would say the same. Golden State hosting Detroit as 6.5 point favorites. No Steph Curry still, but the Golden State Warriors hosting the 10-30 Detroit Pistons after 5 straight wins. Jeff Dawson, only 6.5, and I'm seeing everybody in the world on the Golden State Warriors. Mm-hmm. It is a tough pill to swallow, but I am, and Marvin Bagley is out for the foreseeable future for Detroit. But it's a tough pill to swallow, but I'm interested in Detroit making some waves in Golden State tonight.
Well, and I'm going to piggyback right after that. I mean, I had a 7.5 for the 233. Now it's 232. I'm hearing Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer will both be suiting up for the Pistons. This is a Pistons number, but everyone will now say that play the NBA every day. Listen, you play Golden State at home. It doesn't matter who suits up. They just wax them. So maybe they're trying to do that Jedi trick with us and say, hey, that number's low for a reason. So the sharper people will be biting on the Pistons, and the Warriors are up 30 at halftime. To me, 100%, it's a Piston number.
Yeah, and you've got the one thing I failed to mention: the Pistons just lose 2 nights ago at Portland by 29 points. So only 6.5 is definitely fishy to me. I am on the Pistons tonight as well, but yeah, wouldn't surprise me if the Warriors go crazy tonight. But they just had a hard-fought win the other night, buzzer beater, I believe, or maybe win in the last minute or so, whatever it was. But there's a few other games, but only one other one that I wanted to mention. I don't have any. Actually, I do have a play on this one. Atlanta at Sacramento. Let's see. Sacramento by 1 here. Let's see. Atlanta 4 straight losses. Sacramento winners of 3 of their last 4. They're 20-16. They just won last night in Utah. Now they are back home here. Total up at 245 after these two teams met a couple of months ago in November. Total was 241, and it went way under. Now you're getting 245. So you're probably going to see a lot of points in this one. Points on points on points. I lean towards Atlanta, but, with a game like that where there's going to be 130 points scored both ways, it's obviously a little tricky there. But I'll lean towards Atlanta, but wouldn't surprise me if the Kings maintained being this home darling here. But I lean towards Atlanta in this one.
It's an Atlanta number. And there's a lot of turmoil going on through with Trey and the coach, and they're talking about him stepping down, yada, yada, yada. Hands down, it's an Atlanta number for me. It's Atlanta or bust.
Yep, and then I guess the one game that I failed to mention is in my neck of the woods over here. Chicago hosting the Brooklyn Nets, 5.5-point dogs, my Bulls, 2 hard-fought losses. I guess Brooklyn's one of the hotter teams in the world right now. They're vaporizing teams. So this one, if you want to say this is maybe a statement for Brooklyn on the road, that's fine. It felt a little low to me with the way they're playing, and the Bulls just gave up 71 to Donovan Mitchell, lost 2 in a row. But they had won. The Bulls won 4 out of their last 5 coming into those 2 games against Cleveland, and if we're judging by referee calls after the fact, after the game's already been settled, the Bulls should have won both of those games. So I guess what I'm saying is there is you mentioned the Trae Young situation. I don't know how true it is. The Bulls players seem to like each other for the most part, and every time there is a rumor, they kind of squash that. There is Zach LaVine. Rumors that Zach LaVine is unhappy with his role. Wouldn't surprise me at all there, but at the end of the day, the Bulls are playing better than what they were, so I lean towards the Bulls in this one. But it would not surprise me to see the Brooklyn Nets having a very nice night. They are, what I will say, as contrary to last year, the Bulls are playing much better against the top teams in the league outside of the Cleveland Cavaliers, minus the Cavs. They've played a lot better there. So I think they're 0-3 against the Cavs and good records against a lot of these other good teams here in the East. So I am leaning towards the Bulls, but if you want to call me a homer and the Nets are going to win by 20, then go ahead.
Would you do? It's the same number that when the Bucks came into town. Was it last week? Right? Took them to overtime and beat them.
I think it was. I think that was about the number before injury news. I think at closing it was 2.5 though.
Okay. And the Nets have won how many in a row?
I don't know what the number is, but it is.
I think it's
they're winning
12.
a lot in a row.
I think it's 12.
Yeah, you are correct. 12 in a row. Yep.
Okay, and they opened up. The number is 4 and 234. Of course, the public steams it to 5.5. Circa Jeff Benson, you're a smart man tonight. He's left it at 5 and 235.5. You can not easily. I shouldn't use that. You can very calm, cool, collectly go to the window and play the Bulls plus the 5 or 5.5 if you get it. And you can sprinkle a little beer and pizza money on them, plus 175 on the money line. And listen, if the Nets win, God bless them. They're steamrolling everyone. This, hands down, is a Bulls number. It's a Bulls number. Now, the ECSI VIPs went in with the Rangers last night. The Hurricanes had won 11 in a row. I don't like to step in front of freight trains. Yeah. I just thought it was a great number on the Rangers, plus 109. I'm telling you right now, it's a hell of a number for your Bulls tonight.
Yep, I'm glad to hear it, my friend. I that's what I was thinking. My concern, I guess, if you were hell-bent on doing something with the Nets, you're a Nets fan, you always play something with the Nets. I haven't looked at the number. I'm going to try and find it real quick as far as a point prop here. I am worried. What worries me is Kyrie Irving, 26.5 is the point total or his assist number. Not a great matchup without, obviously, Lonzo Ball hasn't been playing for a year or anything like that, but he's a little bit of a concern to me as far we have some trouble with, high level point guards, high scoring point guards, high playmaking point guards. So, maybe he doesn't do it on the point stat sheet. Maybe he has 15 assists or something like that, but he would be the guy to look for in my eyes if you're looking at playing, if you're hell bent on doing anything with the Nets here.
What got into your boy Markin?
Lauri Markkanen? I would love to know. I don't know. Yeah, it's a good question, man. I was his one of his biggest supporters his first 2-3 years when he was with my Bulls. And I was, he was a huge part of what should have been, on this version of the Bulls, obviously. But no. And then he went to the Cavs, and the same thing happened for a year, and he was the same guy. And now he's got the keys to the kingdom in Utah, and he's taking advantage. So I don't know, man. Still kind of not the best defensive player. He's gotten better, but no, he's got a lot more confidence in him. So, kudos to him. I can't be too upset. They gave him plenty of chances, and he's kind of a late bloomer there. So, I will say, I have to say, every time someone brings it up, the same people who are same Bulls fans that are trashing on the Bulls for letting him go and now him blossoming are the same Bulls fans that are trashing on the Bulls for giving Patrick Williams as many opportunities as they are. So please be patient with these young kids, man. I'm on the Patrick Williams bandwagon as well. He's got a ways to go, but I think he's going to be a nice player as well for us if we hang on to him.
The one game that stuck out like a sore thumb, and I'm not the guy that runs to the window with the injuries and stuff. I had a 3 with a 229.5. Then they changed it to 7. Now it's 8.5. Jeff's got it at 7 with a 225. And what stuck out to me, obviously, was the Heat favored at LA. And then, of course, LeBron's out with an illness. And Lonnie Walker doubtful as well. Russell Westbrook probable. We're waiting for this Heat team to put it together. I think they're going to be a dangerous team. They always seem to be in the second half in the playoffs. Again, I'm not going to run to the window because, there's no AD, there's no LeBron. But I'm just saying it is a Miami Heat number. With that said, the Lakers probably win by 10, but I'm just telling you, it's a Heat number.
Oh yeah, it's a goofy, and they are kind of getting to that point. I think at least I only see their last 5 games here, but they've won 4 of their last 5, above 500 now. So it's to that point, man. A lot of these teams in the NBA, this is the time where maybe some teams that have struggled a little bit and haven't gotten into form. Really start getting into form. I've had a lot of success in the month of January and early February with those types of swings. So it's about that time where I start getting aggressive with the NBA. So I'm getting excited for it.
Other than that, again, the breaking news that we were gifted as locals and baseball fans, Rafael Devers, 11 for 3. What'd you say?
331. I did the math. It was at least maybe $30 million per year plus a little change or something like that. So I think it was 331.
And they're adding that extra year, and they did it to Trey Turner. They did to a couple others. In other words, the real deal is, let's say 330 for 10, and they're like, no, we're not giving you a 33 million AV here. So they add the 11th year, so the AV looks a little better. And my phone's been blowing up, and I say it this way. With the Devers deal, it's very simple. He'll play third until he waddles out of third. We'll get a few years of him at first base, and then he'll end up being the DH, and he'll be David Ortiz.
I mean, look at the playbook. To some degree, I guess he bounced back a little bit more at third base, but with Miguel Cabrera and the trajectory of his career, third base for a lot of it, and then a lot of first base, and now a lot of DH, obviously. So, very similar situation there.
So that gives us locals at least you know what? I'm telling you, me and you are in the same boat. I mean, they're just letting these guys go, and I'm just looking, and I'm laughing at the Correa deal. Sorry, TJ. Listen, guys, you have an opportunity, TJ, to get out of this deal. If I was you guys, I'll tell you what. Here's what I'll do, Correa. I'll give you 5 years, okay? And I'll give you a chance to opt out of it in 3 years. Other than that, maybe you want to go to the Dansby Swanson in 6 year. I am not giving Correa 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years. You can do better than that, guys. Trust me on that. You can do better than that.
Yep. Then I saw the other one we didn't mention. We've been out of baseball, I guess, the last week or so. Eric Osmer to the Cubs as well. I didn't see what the length of that was, and I saw someone was kind of commenting because I obviously follow. I have a lot of Cubs fans, friends, and follow a lot of people. Was you're probably going to love him at times and hate him at times, and then someone was like, "Well, it's better than our AAA, 4A options that we've got." That we've had all year, the last year and a half or so after Rizzo. So I kind of agree with that, but it's going to be could be a nice option, could be an ugly option. We'll see. We'll see next year. And again, I don't know what the deal was there for sure.
We brought him over late. I thought last year we were going to bring him over. San Diego was giving them away. You only had to pick up a little of the money.
Yeah.
Defensively, he is great. Offensively, he is a challenge now. I didn't have a problem with him. I guess the Red Sox, I don't know if Cassis is coming up or they got some kids down there. We were the worst in MLB at first base last year when it came to production.
Yeah.
So now we got Story at short. We'll have Devers at third. I don't know if they'll move Kike Hernandez back to second. I don't know if they'll bring someone in there. We still have problems supposedly at the corner outfield, but they brought the kid over from, was it Japan? Is that?
I think so, yeah. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but it was Japan.
Yeah, and right field is in Fenway Park is like the hardest right field to play in the game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's where we want him, but we'll see. But that definitely made my year. We're only 4 days in. Again, it's been a busy day here, and it's only going to get busier. Tomorrow, what do I got? I got the Bet Exchange at 12. 2:30, Dan Alexander from Newbie Talks, and from Premier Lacrosse from Bet on Lacrosse will be with us talking Philly special. You and I will come back around 4:30 again, like we've been doing for a closing bell. At 9 o'clock, I got the Sportsbook Confessions with Brady Tinker. I don't know if Dave will be back with us on Friday. Supposedly, Rob at Beating the Book will be here at 9:15. You and I will figure out a time if you want to do the Big Ten preview. If you don't, we can do it on Saturday. If you would like to do that, it's your call. Or you can have the weekend off. And if you're available, we can do a closing bell Friday night. And then I think 8 to 10, I think is the time Friday. I will be co-hosting with Anthony Pepe on Sports Map Radio and the Diehards. I'll be live in Canton with him on the compound. So closing thoughts, sir.
Closing thoughts, my friend. No, nothing crazy. Obviously, still prayers up to Damar Hamlin. Everyone's still praying for him. Shout out to everyone that has donated. The number is skyrocketing. So that is awesome to see, obviously, there. So hopefully we get some more encouraging news the rest of the day. Hopefully ASAP, and obviously the rest of this week and weekend, and then we'll figure out the NFL stuff later, the actual game stuff later after that. But aside from that, no, it's about time. I've got plenty of options. You've got plenty of options if you're a basketball fan, NBA and college basketball. It is a big slate, so beware of some potential whats, but there are some good spots to jump into. So, I'm not saying tread lightly as much as I usually am. This is I'm getting a little aggressive today, so I'm excited for tonight's action, college and NBA, and then we'll get back to it tomorrow and see what the damage or hopefully no damage was.
I'll end with this. College of Charleston and North Carolina 8-T have gone to the half. Charleston up 51-31, so that's 82 points in the first half. They just released 3 and an 81. Usually when you score 82 points in the second half, or whatever you score in the first half, you take a look at the open and under over, obviously, and then it's usually a 10 to 12 point swing. If you get that 15, 17 point number, Vegas says it's a go number. When I see 82 points scored with an 81 in the second half, I usually bet the under. So if someone wants a little something to get themselves through the 6 o'clock witching hour, it's 81 right now at most shops under College of Charleston and North Carolina AT&T. As you said, and I'll reiterate, prayers up for Damar Hamlin. Let's hope for positive news throughout the night, the week, and the weekend. And for the NFL, who the hell knows what's going on? I'm not going to speculate. When I get the news in stone, I'll say it out loud here. There's so much more to talk about, whether it's NBA, whether it's college hoops. USA and Canada tonight at 6:30. I talked to Andrew on the show today. The numbers point to me that Canada wins by 2 or more. I'm not going to tell you to take Canada in the money line, minus 190. You can get a team total over 3.5, heavily juiced on Canada. You want to get cute? Get them to get to 4, 4.5, or 5. The under over was 7. I got this at 4-2. If USA gets to 3, then I got it at 5-3. I think Canada covers the puck line, but I'm not telling you guys that. Play it the way you want to play it there. That's about it. UConn tonight at 8:30. I'm hoping for a win. Vegas thinks they're going to cover the 6, guys. They put that number out. I only can see that number going down. It will be a tough game. You'll know early if UConn's ready on that bounce back spot. It's a tough spot. They got Creighton on Saturday, and then they travel to Marquette, I think, on Tuesday or Wednesday. So we're hoping we can get a win, because you move up to number 2 and then lose 2 in a row. Listen, I'll tell all the UConn fans very nicely. If you could sign up for a number 2 seed for the tournament, we would sign up in a heartbeat. Okay, you don't need to worry about the 1 seed. I will take a 2 seed with pride. How's that sound?
Oh yeah, I am not going to disagree with you at all there, my friend. It looks like I think either Kansas or Houston is going to be standing in that 1 seed by the start of next week. So we'll see how that goes. Hey, the only thing I know about Canada and USA, I don't know. Is there? This is me telling on myself. Is there multiple? Because it's the U20 game. Is there multiple, is there U17 involved in this as well, or anything? And the only you don't even have to look it up. All I know is the buzz in Chicago Blackhawks land is we're tanking for Mr. Connor Bedard, which I've seen some highlights. Color me interested. So that's the only thing that I know and am interested in with these games.
No, and he's playing against USA, and so
is that the U20 game? Is that today?
Yes. Let me make sure I'm, spewing something here, because I do, like you, get up here. And let's see if it spins to it. So when I go to DraftKings, Julian, did you hear me that I said DraftKings Sportsbook? If the number 2, and then I go to hockey, and I hit World Juniors.
Okay, I was gonna say I think he's 17 years old, but I don't know. I think he's playing tonight. I don't know.
Yeah, they got it listed at Canada U20. Okay, right. So I don't know if there's the juniors below them as well, but he is playing tonight. And we were talking because you got 2 teams in front of you. You got Coyotes and you got the Ducks. But the true landing spot where he needs to go is Chicago. So you need to get rid of Kane. You need to get rid of whoever else, and you got to get the 1 spot, and you got a generational piece. He is the next.
I've just been listening to stuff where people are talking about him like he's the, not exactly like any of these guys, but the type of guy that when you get him, your franchise has changed. So obviously that's, I think people last night whether it was last night or whatever the last Blackhawks home games, there were signs right on the ice for calling for Bedard. So that's where my interest in hockey has shifted to, my friend.
He is. They some people compare him to the next Gretzky. That's how good he is.
Yeah. That's wild.
I hope he does make it to Chicago. Trust me. So, but again, and since my show earlier today, now Canada's up to minus 200 The under over a 7 is now down to 6.5. And the goal line, you can get plus money on Canada minus a goal and a half plus 120. I don't know what their team totals are. I think they get minimal to 3. I think they get to 4. The big cherry on top is if they got to 5, but I'm not telling you to go run to the window and play that. So, but I think Canada moves on. We gave them out plus 100 after their first loss in the tournament. They haven't looked back since then. So we'll see. So plenty to talk about. And that number that I gave you guys in the second half, if you didn't take it, is now up to 82 and a half. So they think it's going to go flying over. So what do I know, right? From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Investment, the one and only Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson, the one. We wish everyone a blessed evening. Have some fun, guys. Sprinkle a little something, a little here and there and everywhere. But just listen, stay in your lanes. The 4th day of 2023, we got 350 something left. So ECSI VIPs, the alert will be out coming soon. So stay tuned.